Tonight, the Broken Hill community reeling after 3 members of a local family are killed in a tragic accident. And a win for local industries as a British shipbuilder wins a contract to build naval ships in SA.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Broken Hill is in shock tonight after a father and his 2 sons were killed in a tragic accident. Tributes have been flowing in for the family, while investigations into how the accident unfolded continue.
A tragic loss that's left this small mining city in disbelief. 44-year-old Lane Harvey and his 2 sons, 23-year-old Jacob and 16-year-old Curtis, passed away last night after being found unconscious in a cellar at their property on Creedon Street. Lane's wife raised the alarm after finding her husband in the cellar. He had passed out from what was understood to be toxic fumes from a generator. Jacob and Curtis went down to help their father but were also overcome by the gas. Emergency services arrived at the scene just after 4:30 p.m.
We were met by the patient's wife, who directed us around to the back of a shed building. She told us that her husband had been down there and her sons were trying to help.
Paramedics couldn't access the cellar as the fumes were so overwhelming they were forced to wait for firefighters.
They came up all 3 in cardiac arrest. Our crews worked extensively trying to save all 3 patients with all the best interventions.
They were rushed to the Broken Hill Hospital but tragically were pronounced dead a short time later. Today saw an outpouring of grief from the community, many taking a moment to lay flowers at the scene.
Yeah, look, I was actually at the hospital when the family were informed that their loved ones had passed. They're taking it really hard, as would be expected. It's going to be a very traumatic experience here for everybody in Broken Hill. It's not just for the family, but they're a very tight community.
A report is being prepared for the coroner. Patrick Ryanke, Southern Cross News.
A 16-year-old boy has been arrested after an assault in Peterborough. It's alleged the teenager assaulted another boy at Peterborough High School around 12:40 yesterday afternoon. Thankfully, the victim wasn't injured. The young boy was suspended from school and left the premises. It's alleged he later returned with a knife and stood on the outskirts of the grounds. Police located the teenager nearby, where he was arrested and charged with carrying a knife in a public place. He will front the Peterborough Youth Court in October. British shipbuilder BAE Systems has won the contract to construct the next generation of frigates in Adelaide. The news has been welcomed by our region's federal MP, who says there are benefits for local businesses as well as students.
With 30 years of work worth a whopping $35 billion on the table, picking a builder for the 9 Hunter-class frigates was a huge decision. All Liberal hands were on deck this morning as the Prime Minister, Premier and other dignitaries gathered at Osborne. BAE won the tender ahead of Italian company Fincantieri and Spain's Navantia Group.
We are going to bring the world's best technology, skills and expertise to create a world-class Australian naval shipbuilding industry.
Both BAE and Fincantieri had made commitments to use wireless steel if successful. BAE signed a deal in April with Liberty One Steel to use 4,000 tonnes of structural steel on the project. Rowan Ramsey says he'll be holding the builder to the deal.
A lot of structural steel required to rebuild Osborne South. And I expect that steel to come out of Whyalla. It will come out of Whyalla.
Beyond the steelworks, Mr Ramsey says businesses interested in becoming a supplier should get cracking.
This is not a maybe or if. This is happening.
And with a naval shipbuilding college to be developed in SA to build the skills needed, Mr Ramsey says country students now have a door into the industry.
Point students towards STEM subjects, because STEM subjects are the kind of things that are going to get you onto this shipbuilding program.
Meanwhile, Ottawa Engineering, which had been dealing with Fincantieri, has a new owner. Ferrity International has bought the group from E&A and has committed to continuing operations in Whyalla. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, the new financial year is almost upon us, which means crunch time for locals and businesses. And while finance isn't everyone's favourite topic, experts are concerned the public isn't aware of new changes that could make it harder to obtain credit in the future.
Have you checked your credit score lately? Financial experts are worried with the new financial year upon us, people won't be familiar with changes that could affect their next loan or mortgage.
As of July 1, the credit reporting will be completely different. Basically, everything that is conducted with the banks is going to be put onto your credit score.
Meaning that any late payments beyond 14 days could push your score down.
If you have a late payment or a credit card or anything that's a bill even, eventually will actually impact your credit score.
But what exactly is a credit score?
Credit score is from 0 to 1,000, and anything that sort of impacts that score, that if you're late or default, it'll bring that number down, and that obviously has an impact on your interest rates and products and services and credit alone.
And what happens if you have a bad score?
It will actually impact your ability to lend. It could impact a lot of things moving forward, whether you plan to buy a house.
But it's not all bad news. There's plenty of tips and tricks to get your finances fixed on the straight and narrow.
Sit down and do a real thorough budget with the whole family and work out what your expenses are, and pay your bills on time, set up direct debits, make sure you've got payments going through. Whilst it may not be the full amount of the bill, if you're consistently paying something, at least it's going to show.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Rev heads have descended upon Corn and are warming up their engines for this weekend's Rally of the Ranges. It's the first time racing will return to the Flinders Ranges in 40 years.
Locked, loaded and ready to race. Preparations in Corn are shifting up a gear ahead of this weekend's Rally of the Ranges event.
Just getting all the last stages set up and making sure the safety measures are in place and things like that.
Planning for the event started last November, all to see rally cars take on dirt circuits around Corn, as well as the sealed road of the Pitchy Ritchie Pass.
They start at one point, go to another point, and it's the fastest between 2 points.
And with no road rules, new and vintage vehicles will be giving it their all for a chance to score in the South Australian Rally Championship.
Last event went really well, so hoping to have a similar result here.
And for us now, it's just to come back, have a little bit of fun, see whether a couple of old guys can shake up the younger guys in their four-wheel drives.
With the event under 24 hours away, drivers are ready to give it full throttle to see rallying return to the Flinders Ranges, the first in 40 years.
I've often said to people, we should hold around to the Australian Rally Championship in the Flinders Ranges because nothing comes close to that.
Residents are reminded that the Pitchy Ritchie Pass will be closed in the morning and to plan ahead. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
After the break, a local fast food restaurant celebrates 10 years in Port Lincoln by giving back to the community. That's next. The fast food outlet with the popular Golden Arches is celebrating 10 years since it opened its doors in Port Lincoln. In that time, the local franchise has provided hundreds of thousands of dollars towards the local community, and it says it won't stop there.
A decade of serving the humble Big Mac and more.
Seems like yesterday we opened the doors on the 4th of July in 2008, but it's come around really quickly and really proud of what we've achieved in that period of time.
One of those achievements is the support provided across the local community, totalling close to $400,000 over the 10 years.
If you look behind me, there's a list of about 72 odd clubs and organisations and individuals that we've sponsored over the period of time.
The popular fast food chain now employs 80 staff, including one member who's been there since the beginning.
I still fortunately have the first lady that I ever employed with me, still working with me 10 years later.
To come from when there was just a plain block to where it is now, it's been absolutely fantastic.
And Karen says she won't be giving up her role anytime soon.
As long as Tony will have me, I guess. I just love it.
To celebrate this momentous Macca's milestone, a celebration dinner will be held next week at the Lincoln Hotel, where funds will be raised for a very special cause.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, so tickets are $100. I'd love to see a lot more people come along to help us celebrate. It's in support of Ronald McDonald House and the Right to Set Kids, which is leaving here in November.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
2 Indigenous students from Port Augusta have been awarded the coveted Dame Roma Mitchell Scholarship. The Year 11s are among only a handful of students from their school ever to receive the honour.
2 students basking in their fresh success. Both awarded the Dame Roma Scholarship Award for Aboriginal students.
But once I learnt that I won it, I was over the moon would be the word I'd use.
Both Andrew and classmate Amelia received the awards at a ceremony in Adelaide and even got the chance to meet Premier Stephen Marshall.
He had a lot to teach me from the questions that I did ask about his position.
The funds will assist towards their education and future endeavours. Andrew, an Army cadet, wants to join the Defence Force, while Amelia wants to further her education at university.
I'm currently wanting to do teaching or studying nutrition, so something that I can bring back to the community.
Teachers at the school believe both students share qualities that make them worthy recipients of the scholarship.
Their drive, their ambition, their pride in their Aboriginal culture.
It is the first time in nearly 2 decades that students from Port Augusta Secondary School have won the award, a fact that humbles both students in their success.
Something good to see Aboriginal people achieving, and I'm actually really proud of myself.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, Whyalla school kids have the chance to have a fun look at science at an event this weekend at UniSA. Science Alive is designed to keep kids interested in the field and to pursue a career in the industry.
For these kids at Whyalla Town Primary, science looks quite interesting and colourful. But as they get older, it becomes harder to engage kids and get them to pursue a career in the field.
I mean, children are naturally curious about the world around them, but somehow this word science has got a bad name over the years and people think it's something difficult and hard.
Science Alive is looking to change that thinking. It's running an event in Whyalla on Sunday with a number of demonstrations and presentations.
Looking to for some homegrown talent in future years, and what better way to do it than to start at this age and getting kids really interested in science and technology.
A feature of the day will be these replica Star Wars droids built from scratch by Port Augusta man Matthew Prentice.
I've not built anything like this before and I want to extend my skills and do a little bit more with electronics.
GFG Alliance is supporting the event. It says with the steelworks always needing engineers, having kids inspired by science could potentially address the skill shortage.
If we can get kids interested in science today, they could become the engineers of tomorrow and help address that skills gap.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
After the break, a unique twist on a classic as an amateur theatre group takes to stages across the Mid-North. That's next. An amateur theatre group based in Port Pirie is proud to be presenting its latest show, The Little Shop of Horrors. Following the tale of a florist and exploring the theme of love and romance, the play features some unique twists and tales.
Discovering a mysterious plant with killer potential. Young Seymour is trying to gain the attention of sweet Audrey.
It's a very strange plant that starts to make things happen for him, but he has to do certain unsavoury things to feed the plant, which then brings him success.
Can be relatable to girls growing up. As terms of like self-confidence and things that we like deserve to be happy. And
little does Seymour know his plant will develop a soulful voice and an unquenchable thirst for human blood.
There's lots of really complex harmonies going on and they're just really bouncy, like excellent 60s stuff.
The Magpie Warblers will have the audience on the edge of their seats, with a few extra twists added in.
Some kind of surprising serious moments and some moments where you don't quite know where to laugh or cringe. Some big dramatic moments, particularly with the plant. We have some really big puppets.
They say theatre in regional communities is vital to help keep the creative energy alive.
So important to just have that sense of belonging within the community, in a space where we can all just be ourselves.
The production will take to the stage next month. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A new art gallery is set to open in Broken Hill this weekend. A Sydney-based artist has teamed up with Regional Development Far West to open a new space in the heart of town.
This storefront on Blen Street has been vacant for 6 years, but now it's got a new lease on life. Kenzie Patterson is staying in the Silver City while his partner is on work placement. A budding artist himself, he's decided to join the Renew Far West initiative to set up his own gallery.
And it's what I'm calling a gathering place, so I'm hoping to get people from around the area, but also from Sydney and interstate, to come and have exhibitions and perform music, read poetry, and basically gather together.
Renew Far West is a program designed to rejuvenate empty shop fronts around town. Stores like the Tiny Cactus and Little Bloom Studio are already prime examples of the initiative.
This is the fourth Renew project that we've been able to coordinate, and we have another one in line as well, which will possibly progress for next week.
The name of Kenzie's Gallery is a throwback to the city's mining heritage.
Those history buffs out there will know that the Cosmopolitan mine was one of the original 7 liner load leases, which was then renamed the North Mine. The Cosmopolitan decline is the steep road that workers take to access the ore body.
A special opening night launch event will be held tomorrow night, featuring local and interstate artists and musical performances.
To have this really subsidised and well supported space, it's really incredible.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
With the weekend upon us, it's time now for footy tips.
Hello and welcome to round 10 of SUL football. This round starts with Port taking on Solies at Port Oval on Saturday in the match of the round. I'm tipping Port. On Saturday in Port Augusta, it's the Lions who make the trip to face West. I'm tipping the Lions. On Sunday, it's a revitalised Central who take on the undefeated South. I'm tipping South there.
Top versus bottom at Bennett Oval on Saturday. It's West Whyalla versus Central Whyalla. Funnily enough, Centrals did have a win last week and a great come behind victory, but they are taking on the top team, so West should win. Other game on Saturday at Memorial Oval is North Whyalla versus Rapina. Roos were the team that lost to Central Whyalla last week, so they're not in great form. They're playing North on their home ground, so Magpies will win here. And finally on Sunday, probably the match of the round, South Whyalla versus Reina Bay. Likely these teams are going to play finals and likely they're going to have to play each other in the first round of the finals, so big game coming up. Toss of the coin, 50-50, maybe South Whyalla just.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips. We kick things off at Centenary Oval, where Lincoln South are hosting Bostons. Bostons are looking for their first win of the year, and with a depleted South lineup, it's their best chance. In saying this, I'm tipping this one to be a really close game, but South to win by 2 goals. In the next game, we've got Marble Range hosting Mallee Park. Marble Range are in red hot form, and I can't see them losing at home. I'm tipping Marble Range to win this one by 6 goals. In the final game, and match of the round, we've got Tasman's hosting WAYBACKS at Ravendale Oval. The last time these two teams met, WAYBACKS won controversially. WAYBACKS have lots of players coming into the team and are playing at near full strength. I'm tipping this one to be a real close game, but WAYBACKS to win by 3 goals.
This week in Broken Hill football sees the finish of the split round. In what was a great weekend last weekend with Ackermanis playing here, it will be hard to back it up. South coming over the hill to play Centrals. Centrals sitting third on the ladder and looking for another win. South haven't lost a game this season, looking very, very strong. In what will be a great game, I think it'll be South in 60 to 80 points.
Stay with us after the break, all the local weather details with Amy Stevenson. And Amy, will the region enjoy sunny conditions into the weekend?
It sure will, Fraser. It's looking like the sun will be shining as we finally get a chance to relax after our busy week. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. A fine day around most centres today. The mercury climbing to 18 in Port Augusta. Maximum sat just below in Whyalla, while Port Lincoln saw the odd shower and a top of 15. On the satellite and cloud over the south, with a cold front will cause some showers to develop later. Skies are clearer over northern parts under the high pressure ridge that's been hanging around. If you're spending your weekend on the waters, westerly winds are set to shift southwesterly tomorrow and pick up to 25 knots. Seas will reach 3 metres, with sunrise at 25 past 7 and setting at 20 past 5. Now for tomorrow's forecast, and the sunny conditions will extend into Saturday with maximum temperatures sitting in the low to mid-teens. 16 in Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln will see a high of 15. A run of mostly sunny days in Port Lincoln before a cloudy Tuesday and a top of 18. Cleve can also expect fine weather early next week, as will Woodner, with temperatures creeping up to 19 degrees. Whyalla will see sunny days leading into Tuesday with similar conditions in Port Augusta and Kadina. Maximum temperatures will push into the high teens early next week. Port Pirie will also warm up slightly to 18 degrees by Tuesday. However, temperatures are going to remain cooler in Clare, seeing tops of 14 leading into the new working week. Similar maximums expected in Broken Hill before reaching 16. So Fraser, it's looking like great weather to be able to relax in over the weekend around the Spencer Gulf.
Thanks, Amy, and that's all the news for now. Thanks for your company. I hope you have a great night and weekend. Good night.